And we're live. Here we
Welcome to
are.
Quick Reviews. I am M. Night Shyamalan. My co-host is the last airbender destined to save the world from the Fire Nation.
That makes it sound like we're a terrible, like a terrible, terrible thing.
Uh, you're,
I
you're a buddy
I
cop
am I
duo.
am repulsed to be associated with that.
Dude, you need Avatar The Last Airbender is so awesome, though.
But not M Night Shyamalan's version of it.
This is true.
Does that mean that I'm awesome, but you're a terrible director?
Yes!
I
Let's
hope
go
that's
with
not what
that.
it means.
Anyway, we are reviewing a track by Chuggaroos, Chugga Conroy, Chuggarino. Uh,
Which is thankfully going to be less difficult than our last review.
oh yeah, it's
All right,
all so is significantly. Uh, it's a
significantly.
different track. It's a different track. It's a very strange track, but uh,
Let's
as
just
per
watch it.
usual,
Let's just watch it.
Chugger's got something up his sleeve. Alrighty, I'm ready.
3, 2, 1, go.
Why is the scarf break?
I don't know. I don't know why it's great.
this this feels like in the air. It doesn't even matter.
It's an unreleased backing track to like. No, I don't know what it is.
Oh, it's probably Idea.
Hey people by
Uh,
idea. That's what it says.
Idea. Same guy that Flash used for Requiem set.
Wait, was this Requiescat?
Requiem set, same artist. Yeah.
Oh, now I recognize it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The very distressed, angry, shouty rapper guy.
Yeah, that guy. He is no longer in this world. I think when Flash made that track, it was dedicated to the guy.
It's okay. So now I just want to say we're like a minute into the track and he's been falling and it's obviously sped up because he's starting to glitch out, which means that like he must be very very far. So I'm very curious what speed he gets up to and how far he actually falls because
Yeah, I
yeah.
want to know. I want to know the speed because I want to know if Rideliner blew it out of the water with him,
Yeah.
or if Rideliner's got to make another big teleport thing in Bob.
Anyway, there we go. Giant Cramule cannon.
And
Or
now he's
Cramule.
just shaky all the time.
Yeah. Which I think is probably metaphoric for something.
The voice in the rap is very strained.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
Which matches
I feel like
the. Yeah.
I feel like this had a big old boom, and it started out with much pomp and circumstance, and then it just became a lot of handling.
Yeah, it's kind of just a flink work at this point.
Yeah,
It looks like
there were
Cramule.
there were lots of moments that were like bam, yeah, like that. I want a track that's just entirely bam, and like
Yeah, yeah. Just the good moments.
yes. Also, holy shit, it's glitching.
Yeah.
Look at that.
You wanna watch it in slow
Anyway,
mo?
yeah. Where do you want to start?
Why not start at the beginning? We can keep talking about it.
All right. So as we can see here,
Oh,
Bosch is
sorry. Are
falling.
I didn't do it. We didn't do a countdown.
Oh, okay. Two-
Ready?
Yep.
3, 2, 1, go. As soon as you
So
said, as you see here, I like press go, and then I was like, wait, we didn't start at the same time.
as you can see here, Bosch is falling. This is a trend that is likely to continue for some time.
Well,
In fact, longer than actually takes place in the video.
it's interesting because like Bosch falling at the start of a video is a very, very common thing.
Yeah.
What's not common is letting him fall for literally most of the track. Whenever that's been done before, it's been like sort of decried as like dumb. I think
Or a joke
like
track, as in like finite.
Infinite and Edible were serious attempts in it, and people were like, "This is like ridiculous that it's just falling for the first half," and then it's like some sort of little bit of quirk, and then it ends. And I think like what Chuggers is trying to do here is he's like taking that and trying to give it like the serious treatment, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and he like makes that clear by having one angry rap music and two like a ridiculous level of falling to the point where it's like he's clearly aware of this trope and like pushing it extra far, you know?
I think this is a good example of crossing the line twice.
I don't know what that
Though
means, but I think I agree with you.
that is, and where those lines are depends on who you are. But like,
Yeah.
basically, the idea is you cross a line from like this falling is good to this falling is bad, but then it crosses back over, and it's like, no, this falling is
Yes,
actually
exactly like
interesting
that.
again.
Exactly
And
like that.
I think this,
And it's also made
I don't
more
know.
interesting by the sort of
Chuggers might
the
also
very
be
strange choice to one make the scarf gray and two have him like fall so far that he starts glitching out and then you realize oh it's actually sped up and that's why he's falling so far.
I also, on that note, I wonder if Chuggers is laughing at us debating the merits and the
Oh, it doesn't
positives
matter. I mean, he
and
may.
non-positives of us talking about Bosch falling for a straight up a minute.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter if he's laughing at us or not. I mean, it's very clear. I mean, okay, the track is 2 minutes and 20 seconds. Bosch falls for 1 minute and 25 seconds.
Yeah,
So, like, it's very clearly the biggest part of the track. And so, whether it was in these reviews, we try to take things at face value and like not assume that it's like an effort to troll us. Because I mean, if you view these things as art, like this is a very bold artistic decision.
yeah. This is very like concerted. Like, look at this thing because
Yeah.
he's like center stage, focused, no
He's
motion
zoomed
beyond the
in.
scarf to indicate
He's
that he's
very
falling.
large. He's gray. It's sped up. Um, he's falling. There's like angry rap music playing in the background with like dun 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 dun. Like it's clearly a lot of artistic choices going into this. Um,
Yeah,
and I feel like I don't know if Chuggers was intending to convey something with this track, but I feel like either he was intending to convey something or he was just like blowing off some steam. Either way, it's like it's very clearly an artistic expression. All
yeah,
the choices he makes in this track are like very intentional. You can tell they're intentional.
yeah.
In the everything in the presentation and the video editing and the track itself. So in terms of like I just think the music choice, the long fall, the glitching out of Line Rider, and then the like sort of
Return to form.
well, it doesn't really feel like a return to normal. I mean, he goes off sled at the end, and he zooms in at the end. And he's vibrating, and the flink work is very. I mean, it's pretty aggressive. I mean,
Yeah,
it is just sort of it's flink work, and it's
I think
that
it's more
again,
aggressive
but it's
towards
also
the beginning.
and then there's like there's a bunch of cramule stops and cannons on like some of the larger hits of the percussion in the music. So it very much conveys like anger in a way that I don't know if other tracks do. On that note, it still is very. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if a better maybe it's a better word than this, but I want to say elitist. I feel like that's the wrong word because that implies that it's like snubbing its nose at everyone, which not necessarily, but it's what's the word? Inscrutable. It's hard to know what is being said, and it's especially hard to know what's being said if you're not familiar with all of the tropes he's drawing from.
Yeah,
So
like you have to be a lot of Chugger's tracks. You have to be very familiar with Line Rider in general
yeah,
to get what he's going for,
and
because I think he makes his tracks for an audience that is familiar with the things he is also familiar with. And
yeah.
now we're playing the feud.
Yeah, here now we're in the actual the, actual. The, 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 actual. I
I
feel like
appre-
this was probably loosely synced. That's my guess. Just from watching it, it feels like there's a lot
oh
of
yeah,
just do
it is.
whatever, but there's also some like lining up with the music here and there. So I feel like it's kind of like he's like, I'm gonna do whatever I want, but also probably sync to some things. Um, and that's why I feel like, I feel like when you talk about how when you started making "Come to Daddy," like I get that vibe from this track, like where it's just like, and
Like anger of wanting to slam something. Yeah,
yeah, that's
I get
that's what
I
I
get
get
that
from the
here
track,
too.
and maybe that's
But
not
then
what he
I
intended, but
feel like the
yeah,
I feel like the anger goes away. I feel like
it
the
does
anger
feel
is
like that. Yeah, it feels like kind of a
better conveyed
release.
towards the beginning, but then
Yeah,
when it goes into tail flings and like just hand flings, those feel just like
yeah.
this is just me spitballing here, and
Well,
I just feel like long flings are not angry in the same sense unless he's like
yeah.
actively
And see,
shaking.
the thing is that a lot of these choices were like, it's hard to know if this was just spitballing or if it was intentional or if it was a mix of both, and what the point of
Like
it
this
all
flat
is.
sled feels just like angry and like constantly moving, and
Yeah.
I don't know, the hand fling feels just kind of like
I
I
think
am being
yeah, I think that that's a good point to make though. Is that I think I think a lot of people, a lot of times we think of flings as more aggressive than flat sled, but at like high speeds like this, flat sled actually looks more intense than flings, like, cause
well,
he's like
well,
pressed
a
into his
certain
sled,
kind of fling, a certain kind of
Yeah,
fling
some
or
like this
something.
kind of a fling looks pretty intense.
Oh yeah, this is that part feels like badass, but like
This kind of fling does not feel intense. It feels very calm. I mean, he's
feels
not. He looks like he's just
feels like he's
riding
flying.
normally, except he's upside down. That
Yeah,
looks
that.
intense. This looks
Yeah,
intense. So it's
things that
just
strain and pull, I think,
this
would
doesn't look intense.
better
Well, this is airtime.
convey.
Never mind. I thought this
I
scarf
think
was a line.
I think this could have been more consistent if there was more of the strain and pull effect. Keep in mind, this was made in a few hours.
Yeah. So I that's why I get the feeling that he wasn't trying to be like super intentional about how we perceived it. He was just like making stuff, and so it was more about. I'm guessing it was more about what it felt like to make something than what it felt like to watch it.
Yeah,
Or maybe it's a mix of both, but it very much feels like it's a track that's not really for us. It feels like it's a track for chuggers.
that's a
um,
fair assessment, I think. Um, and
and
yeah, I don't know.
I
I
do
don't
want
know
to
how
say
Reddit
that
feels.
like none of these things are objectively like bad decisions. To make art that is personal is never like it's never a thing that's good or bad. It's just a thing it's just a choice you can make. And then
Right.
to make art that is difficult for people to understand without a lot of context, that's also something that isn't good or bad. It's just a choice. So for us, it's like if you make a track that's highly personal and difficult to understand, we're going to be confused. um, but maybe that it all depends on what kind of reaction you want, and what you're going for. Anyway,
And so
that's
yeah,
my thoughts.
there's I feel like a lot of anger is conveyed here. Um, just a lot of roughness, a lot of like thrashing,
Yeah,
and I think certain things could be done to convey a more consistent sense of like thrashing,
yeah.
but as a whole, like I think it does a decent job of conveying that, at least as decent as you can in Line Rider is tough.
Oh, I think you could do it better. I
Yeah,
I think
I'm
it
not saying
doesn't
this is like
strike me as I think there, if the goal was convey anger to the viewer, I think there could have been a lot more that I think there was a lot more that could have been done to do that. Which is
mhm.
why, I mean, it all depends on intent. We don't know if this was intended to convey something to us, or if it was just something he did one day. Just felt like doing. Um,
Another thing.
and
Uh,
then was like, well, why not release it? I don't
I
know.
don't think high speed lends itself well to conveying feelings of anger all the time. I think in certain instances, one of the things you could do with low speed is have that sense of directional turnaround that's so much quicker, that sort of whiplash.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That is harder to do with high speed because there's this sort of linearity that comes with high speed where you're moving in a direction, and that's what the cramules make so effective in here, is this sense of sudden stoppage and like that whiplash.
Yeah.
You can really only do through cramules at higher speeds.
Yeah. I agree.
So yeah, interesting piece of art. Interesting.
Definitely like great like discussion generator.
Yeah, like
it's really fun to talk about it. That's for sure.
it's very thought provoking.
Yeah.
In ways I didn't initially imagine. So good job on that one, Chuggers. Yeah, very interesting, and I respect the choice to do an off-sled ending as a purveyor of off-sled endings myself.
I thought that was one of the more powerful choices.
Yeah, where he's just hanging there as
Yeah.
it glitches. That I appreciate that a lot.
The visual of Bosch hanging by his hands as he's glitching out is pretty strong.
Little X's in his eyes.
It is sort of a weird thing it always strikes me as a strange thing when people make art that is like one of the central things of the art is the glitching of the art medium. You know, it's a very interesting choice because it simultaneously is like, by definition, it's like current. You know, because I mean, you could make a glitch about Beta 1, but that's not going to be super interesting. So it's like it's like no one really does that. So it's like you know, not by definition current, but like they tend to be very current. Like this track feels very current because it has this glitching of LRA, and so that makes it feel very like specific to now, and that makes it feel less timeless, if you know what I mean. So that's but at the same time, it is a very strong aesthetic to see how it does feed right into the aesthetic of the track and the music and the falling for a very long time at the beginning. Like it all fits together really well. Go ahead.
I got a soapbox. I think Wings is a textbook formalist piece.
Oh yeah.
I think textbook. In the sense that formalism as a whole is about the warping and subversion of the medium, and by its very nature, a lot of formalist work is inscrutable. It's not necessarily meant to be accessible. It's very much for its own sake.
Yeah,
and I think these qualities. The fact that we can't really discern what's going on, but we know that something is being messed with, and we know that it's being tinkered around with and experimented as a form.
Yeah.
Notifications. Means that this piece is like formalist to the core.
I would say that I would say it has very strong formalist elements. I feel like the for lack of a better term, the actual track part of the track is like significantly less formalist, which is
that's fair.
Makes me feel like it's a much more personal artwork than a like broad artwork. Like the falling for a long time, and then like say if he had a decision to do something formalist with the remainder of the track that somehow related to the rest of the experience, then that would be, or I guess it wouldn't even need to relate. It would just need to be some sort of radical formalist decision about what was really Cramwood-style flink work with some cramules.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's fair. I do think that this is for Line Rider and for a predominantly flinkwork community very formal.
Yes.
Which I think is interesting, and I think makes this track a little thought provoking.
Yeah.
And that's I think the conclusion I'm coming to with this, which is makes me think. Makes me think out of 10.
Yeah. I also want to
Aren't you glad we
talk
don't
about
do out of 10s? Yeah.
um
Ooh.
yeah, no, I don't want to do that. I
Do-
also want to talk about the colored scar. I mean, can you imagine rating, like, going into a modern art museum and being like 6 out of 10, 9 out of 10, like,
Needs better mechanics.
more tail flings. Just point at like that, like some like obscure like 3-dimensional sculpture piece. Be like more tail flings. Anyway, I want to talk about the I want to talk about the colored scarf because I feel like on the one hand, like it's something Chuggers does every single time, and so it's
Yeah.
in a way it's like iconic. Like you can be like, it's a Chuggers track because his scarf is not red. But
Mhm.
on the other hand, it's also like no one else really does that. And so I've been sort of trying to figure out like why does Chuggers do it so much? Why does he choose the colors he chooses, and why has it not caught on?
I would love to answer that more, but I need to use the restroom. So,
Oh, lovely. Are you gonna leave me here all by myself to finish up the quick review?
yes,
All right.
take it
This was
away,
an
Aang, the
unexpected
last
twist.
Airbender.
All right, bye.
See ya.
So, I was hoping to ask him this question and then let him talk for a bit while I thought about why I like bounce ideas off each other. But obviously that's not happening. So I'm just gonna go with I don't know. I don't know why he does the different colors. I believe he mentioned once that it was to generate a different mood. Um, I feel like that does work um, to a certain extent. Um, I wonder, like, I guess it depends on how you view Line Rider. Because for me, I tend to view Line Rider as I want to make things using Line Rider, not make things using like I don't know, like the jittering is like it's a very LRA specific glitch, and that would sort of keep me from using it because um, well because it's there's so much that there's there Line Rider has Line Rider has applicability beyond um, the glitches in the code of specific versions, and I think that we can convey like I think that it's like if he's doing the scarf color change for mood, I think that you can convey mood in ways that are more powerful and um, make more sense to um, make more sense to the casual viewer um, than changing the scarf. And I feel like I wouldn't put anything on. I wouldn't do a video of anything and of anything Line Rider that you couldn't also watch in Line Rider. It would be basically the same thing. And I guess scenery splitting is something, but like the point of scenery splitting is that like creating the illusion that this is what the track would look like in Line Rider. Um, I don't know. It's like for me, it's always been like the idea is it looks like how it looks in Line Rider in any version, um, and yeah, I guess that's all I have to say. Uh, I think like OTDE has a lot of ideas about editing the video itself to like do various video editing things
We
while
back.
creating tracks. Oh, I was talking about you. I was talking about how you like to come up with lots of ideas where you're like, I'm gonna like edit the Line Rider video in such a way that it's gonna make something new. And I'm just not a fan of that for what I want to do. I want to do stuff that like what you watch in Line Rider is what it looks like, and the final product is the track. and not the video. And so
That's just like your opinion, man.
yeah, it is. But then so that's maybe why I'm not like the different color scarf isn't my favorite thing. And I was just curious what you were thinking about the colored scarf, because I know that you differ from me on this.
It doesn't bother me. Um, in most of the other ones, I think what he does with it is he uses it to adopt a certain tonality with it.
Hmm.
Light Fantastic, Vimodelin, and Doll all have differently colored
Yeah,
scarves, and
yeah.
they all sort of serve towards being either cooler or warmer colors.
Uh-huh.
And I think they also
Yeah, that
sort
I
of
talked
help.
about that a little while you were gone, how it like conveys mood.
Yeah,
And like
and
that's the reasoning for why is his scarf yellow or blue or orange or
in
whatever
this
it is.
case, it's gray because it's
Hmm.
this like
It makes it feel dead
yeah,
or
this
like
like
static or like, you know.
yeah, it feels like void,
Yeah.
which I think it works. Uh, you may not be a fan, but I kind of
I just
am.
think we can convey emotion in, you know, with line rider, and that if we're going to resort to video editing, there are lots of ways you can convey emotion more effectively than making a line rider video and editing it.
So I'll put like a transparent video of like a guy mashing potatoes with his hands or something.
I don't know. I just feel like
With
if you're gonna try to make, like, if you were like, here's a song, like, just you don't know anything about line rider, okay? Just imagine this, or
okay,
maybe you've seen a few tracks, and you're like,
yeah,
um, and some guy is like, I made this piece of music, make a music video to it. You're probably not going to be like, I know the perfect thing to make a music video to this, line rider. You know, you're probably
this
going to
is
be like, all right, what visuals does this evoke in my mind? Let's go out and film something like that and then edit something together like that. And maybe it's abstract, in which case maybe you make some abstract stuff. Um, but very rarely do people be like, this song makes me think of a white background with a guy on a sled going down a line. Like that's like such a bizarrely specific mental
yeah,
image, you know?
and
And so the power of Line Rider is not, for me, it's not like the editing you can do to it, because if you're editing it, you may as well just edit video. Um, for me, it's like that's very specific to people who've watched a lot of Line Rider videos. But
yeah,
I do think Line Rider does have a universal appeal. Um, of conveying things with just line rider, just guy on a sled moving around on lines. We can convey things with that. So that makes me more of a purist for sure. And it doesn't mean that I like won't watch a track where his scarf is gray. Um, and it also doesn't mean that
God,
I'm
imagine what it would be like
you
if
know
you
that's going to
did. I'd
be
be so mad.
and it also doesn't mean that's going to be like my primary like gripe with the track. It's like his scarf shouldn't be gray. Like it's kind of doesn't mean a lot, but that's I guess that's my view on why I wouldn't make a scarf gray or a different color.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
I was going to come up with this while you told me what you thought, and I ended up just rambling about how I didn't know, and then you came back, and then I realized I did know, and then I just said what I knew. So this was like 5 minutes longer than it needed to be. Thanks for
anyway,
going to the bathroom, bro.
come on, man. Man's got to go when he's got to go. That's
Well,
all right.
do you have anything to say before we wrap this up? It's almost 30 minutes long, which is
So
much
good.
longer than I thought this track's review would be.
It's so good. I'm ready. I'm done. I'm ready.
All right, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.